Now, the city of Johannesburg's multi-party coalition is preparing to lay criminal charges against the ANC. The group is claiming an alleged conspiracy to buy back political power, accusing the ANC of bribery and corruption. Let's take you live there to that particular story, which is being monitored for us by our reporter, Heidi Jokos. Heidi, what is the latest coming from there? Do they have proof as to whom exactly was bought? Okay, our reporter is not particularly there. Let's listen in live.
The purpose of this media briefing and also what is my role going forward in the council. We called you here to talk to you around the ousting of Councillor Vasco da Gama. It was a motion that was sponsored by the PAC. They will speak in a moment. And we called you here to give you our side of the story as minority parties in response to what is bubbling right now in the media space, where our councillors are called betrayers, where we are made to be villains for voting with our conscience, for voting for the residents of the city of Johannesburg. I have been told by the DA, a letter was sent to me yesterday trying to stop this media briefing. It's a legal letter, and they have clearly articulated through their legal opinion why they believe I'm not the acting Speaker of Council. When Councillor Vasco da Gama was ousted as a Speaker, he called me to the podium. He said, now I will call the acting Speaker of Council and the Chair of Chairs, Councillor Colleen Makubele, to take over the meeting and preside for the rest of the council meeting. I went up and I presided over that council meeting with no objection from any councillor. I further presided over the motion that was brought in by the Action SA, and that motion passed. So it means if I am not the acting Speaker of Council, all that happened when I presided should then be reversed, including the motion of the Action SA that was passed. Of course, this is their opinion. It's a legal opinion. It can be challenged because, as always, DA rules by intimidation, by bullying, through legal instruments and through legal opinions. And that's how this city has been run up until now. But as I start, I want to really say, as women, we have been silenced for too long, and we also have been silent for too long. And we will not be silenced by legal opinions and legal letters. Women have earned the right to have a voice in the running of this council and in the running of this nation. We have fought besides men. We have fought in the streets campaigning to be councillors, and we have fought to be elected in the positions where we sit, myself as the Chair of Chairs and other women here sitting in their positions as chairpersons. And for that reason, we will not allow the DA to dictate to us how we conduct ourselves and discharge of our duties when we are in council in the positions that we have been duly elected to operate in. I'm reminded of Mbeki, who was a stalwart of community activism, a member of the Congress of the People, a promoter of women development, truly a mother of a nation. I'm encouraged by her, the mother of our former president, President Thabo Mbeki, and the widow of a political activist and Rivonia trialist, Mr. Govan Mbeki. She was well known for her endeavors to improve the residents and the quality of lives of our people. I believe that she didn't join COPE thinking it was a branch of the Democratic Alliance. She joined COPE to find expression for her passion and her talent and her calling to serve her residents and the community. And that is the reason why I joined COPE, and I have followed in her footsteps to serve the residents of the city of Johannesburg. There are words of wisdom which she spoke to her son, which I would like to reiterate now, and it will set a tone for what I will speak in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Her son, Thabo attributed much of his political success to the wisdom of his mother, Mambeki. But she disagreed with him, and she said these words, "I wouldn't call it wisdom. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of self-lust. He should never forget, he should forget about his ego and listen to the next man. That's what really he must do in order to be the president of the people. You forget about your own ego and listen to the next man." And that is what has failed to prevail in what we call the multi-party coalition. Coming to the motion, we are here today because of the bravery of the PAC in sponsoring the motion. A one-seat party, as we are called in council, advanced a motion, and to everyone's surprise, it passed. I salute our leader, Councillor Nkonko. He's here today. He'll speak on that motion, for bringing that historic motion to the city of Johannesburg. That motion has brought the arrogant giants, the so-called big parties, to their knees. That motion, for the past few days, has caused this city and the nation as a whole to come to a standstill. Tate Nkonko, you remind me of your leader, Mr. Philip Hosana, in 1960. After Tate Philip Hosana mobilized 30,000 people to march, he caught the attention of then the young Anton Rupert. Anton Rupert, as his style, he has always been running the country, even in those days. He asked to meet with Mr. Philip Hosana. And after that meeting, there were historic remarks that he made. He said, "I was shocked that a young man without laces in his shoes could bring out such a multitude." And I think that rings true today. This city and the nation is shocked that a one-seat party could bring this nation, could bring big parties on their knees and everyone to a standstill. And as a result of that encounter, Anton Rupert told the government of the day to grant property rights to blacks and enable them to buy at a discount. And ladies and gentlemen, with that statement, I'm trying to tell you that the role of minority parties in this country has just been revived. The role of the minority parties in this city has just been restored. And we thank you, all the minority parties that are here, for supporting that motion. Not only you, we also thank the ANC and the EFF for choosing to do the right thing and support the motion. ANC and DA had the same opportunity when the motion was presented in our programming committee to support the motion with the facts that were put on the table, but they chose not to. So we sit here together as minority parties, having agreed to collaborate on this particular motion at this stage, not for our own sake, but for the sake of the black child in this city of Johannesburg. The issue of a black child, the issue of a black woman, the issue of a black man in Orange Farm in Region G, in Cosmos City, in Ivory Park, in Alexander, in the far-flung areas of this city, they have nothing to do with political affiliation or the colors of the T-shirts that we wear. The fact that our communities are infested with poverty, rape, crime, gun violence, substance abuse, unemployment, poverty, it has nothing to do with the color of the T-shirts that we wear. It has to do with the oath of office that we have taken as councillors to serve the residents of this city. And we have decided as minority parties sitting here to suspend our political pettiness, to rise above our own political selfishness, to bury our own political resentment and superficial ethnicities, for once to focus on the residents of the city of Johannesburg, the 6 million residents that have no energy, that have no water, that have no roads, whose streets are dirty, whose children cannot go to school because they don't have money, they don't have work, who have been impacted by COVID, whose parents, some are orphaned, no one is looking after them. This is what we believe as minority parties sitting here, or a coalition, should look like, should feel like, and should act like for the benefit of the residents. This is what Utata Nelson Mandela, when he ran the government of national unity, when he first took over as the first black president, he did. He pulled together every party, and there was power sharing in that government of national unity with 2 deputy presidents. IFP was part of that coalition, and they ran the country successfully because everybody felt they had a voice. Power was shared. Everybody could make decisions that benefited the nation, not just one party. Coming to the current multi-party coalition, truly there is no common vision, as you can see with what has manifested in the past few days. Apart from economic interdependence, it is now clear that there's very little that is holding the multi-party coalition together. We have witnessed in the past few days that the cookie has crumbled. The protection of white supremacy prevails. Small parties are told what to do, to fire their councillors who voted for the city of Johannesburg and for the residents. We have been intimidated by legal letters for doing what we are supposed to do, for being an acting speaker of council. I've been intimidated by legal letters to stop calling myself that. But let me tell you, DA is caught in a crisis. They are in a serious crisis of arrogance, being power hungry, and for a party that did not win election, it must be a very difficult place to be, because they know very well that they cannot govern by themselves. But due to their imbalance of power in this coalition, lack of accountability, concealing of information, neglecting our communities, informal settlements, stifling our black SMMEs and enterprises, failing to really advance real programs that are benefiting the municipality and our communities, we have come to this place today. You will all know that historically, the whites were politically and economically dominant. Of course, that era is over. Although now blacks are politically dominant, we are still not economically free and dominating. And white people are using that advantage to arrogantly engage in that maintenance and that retention of that supremacy and dominance. Now that they've finished taking our land, the next thing is to take our cheap black votes through this coalition, using our party leaders to intimidate us councillors. We are being forced to vote like cows. If you don't vote with your conscience, you are kicked out of the party. There are some councillors that should have been here with us today. They've been suspended by their parties for voting on the right thing. They didn't violate any constitution. They didn't violate any law. They didn't violate even the constitution of their own party. All they did was to vote for what they believe will serve the residents of this city. But of course, that did not suit the DA. Now they must suffer for it. Now we hear that Action SA is also joining our party. We hear them in the media calling that the coalition agreement must be changed. The DA cannot have a speaker, a chief whip, and a mayor. And I'm asking myself, where were they when we were voting in council? They were part of the people that were swearing at us, intimidating us when we raised our hands in council. Why now, when the horse has bolted, you want to join the party? Yeah. You failed to protect the councillors that are facing disciplinary hearings. You were calling on our leaders, instructing them to discipline us. Why now, when you see that the minorities are united, we are taking over government, why now are you protecting your own economic interest as well? We've seen how the Action SA also works. They made noise in Tshwane. They identified a wrong. They clogged our media space for almost a week, calling on the mayor of Tshwane must resign. They're going to put a vote of no confidence. But one call from the DA, they crumbled on their knees. and they could not vote him out. We did what the white minority fears the most. We united, and we decided we are going to vote either way, whatever the consequences are. So Action SA must not come and join the brigade when the horse is bolted. They should have come with us when we invited them. They cowered when the white spoke. There's a notion that I want to dispel as I draw to conclude, and it's creating a media sensation, that the ANC is coming through the back door, that the ANC is using the minority parties to come through the back door. I want to make this very loud and clear. The ANC is not going to come through the back door. The ANC will come through the front door exactly the same way that the DA came through the front door and Action SA came through the front door. Because if the attitudes of the DA does not change and if Action SA does not change, if the ANC puts a coalition on the table that meets the needs of our residents, the people that voted for us, instruct us to vote for that coalition, make no mistake, will not hesitate to make the cross where it will serve our people. So that notion of the ANC using any of us here must be dispelled. We will bring them through the front door if the attitude of this coalition is not going to change, if the power is not going to be balanced, if our people are going to remain in poverty, if our communities are not going to be served, if the mayor who has been elected 9 months ago has not even been to Region G, she has not been to Cosmos City, she has not been to Ivory Park, who's supposed to be there to serve the people. We need a government of this city that will serve our people. As I conclude with this saying, and I quote, I don't know who said it, but I'm quoting it, a people are what its women are. The woman is the conscience of her nation, as well as the measure of its values. The moral life of a nation is controlled by the women, and by the women we can measure the moral condition of the people. And I want to paraphrase that to any party. By the women we can measure the moral condition of a party. And I'm saying that to the DA, by the behavior of your leader, we are measuring the moral condition of your party. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair of Chairs. And now I would like to give this opportunity to the minority party to issue out their statement also. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Councillor Margaret Arnold from the city of Johannesburg, but I'm also the caucus leader of the AIC. But I'm speaking now on behalf of the minority opposition. You all know that there was minorities that were in government and there was minority that was not in government. So I'm speaking on behalf of the minority in government. And I first want to start off by opposition. Sorry, minority opposition. We were not in government. I'm sorry. It's Monday morning. I just want to start off by saying thank you to the minorities that were in government, that they've opened up their eyes and they've actually seen. And I love what the Chair of Chairs has said, that they were using them for their votes. And that's exactly what happened, because if you can go back to the day at Brixton, when the voting took place for the Speaker, the Chair of Chairs, no, not the Chair of Chairs, the Chief Whip, as well as the Mayor, they were given the votes by the EFF. But when they had to put people into positions, the EFF did not get any position. They didn't even consider or call the EFF to ask the EFF what position would they want to have in government. And that is exploitation of votes. I'm not going to be very long, but I just want to say, as the minority opposition parties, we've arrived at this juncture that we are today. And what happened in council, by the Speaker being removed by a vote of no confidence that was sponsored by one of the members of the minority opposition, the PAC. We've arrived there because the Speaker flouted every rule in the rule book. He flouted it. He did not listen to us as minorities and as opposition parties. We were not given a chance to speak out and as parties. He also rewrote the rule book. He would rewrite the rule book to suit the DA. And the DA controlled him. He was not a speaker of the entire city of Johannesburg. He allowed an item to go through in the last council where an acting secretary to council was brought in from Cape Town, from NCOP, whilst we had an acting person acting from the city of Johannesburg. So currently the city is paying for 3 secretaries to council. We are paying the secretary to council who's on special leave, Vicky Shuping. She's getting a full salary. We paid Andile that was acting, and we're paying this guy that comes from Cape Town, Marimeche. And in front of me, I'm sitting with almost 200 pages of a disciplinary that happened against Marimeche whilst he was here in 2010. Marimeche employed family, girlfriends, deputy girlfriends, and everybody in council. And it was said that he needs to go to a disciplinary. So I just want to also say to Marimeche, you are going to go to that disciplinary with the turn of government. You are going to go to disciplinary. Then we have a almost 200 pages from an official in the city of Johannesburg, Msweli, that was used as the Uzi to shoot all of us, the 130 and everybody else. And he has at least come out and said, I was used by this government. And these are the things that we spoke to the Speaker about and said to Speaker, can we fix this? But Speaker didn't. The last motion of no confidence we had in him, we withdrew it because we are Africans. He was in mourning, and we decided we don't want to still burden him further. But when this motion came, he was removed. And today we are saying we are going to change the city. We are going to get a speaker that understands his role, his mandate, and be a speaker of the city of Johannesburg and not of his or her political party. The DA is quick to say we had 27 wasted years with the ANC. The Gama has been a councillor for 28 years. A councillor that cannot even keep the decorum of council. The motion of the item of the secretary to council was moved in council, but it was chaotic. We could not even hear the yeses. One person screamed yes, and he said the yeses has it. And there was chaos. There was total chaos in that meeting. So today we are saying to you, thank you for being here. And this is not about a political party. This is not about COPE. It is not about the AIC. It's not about Al Jamaa. It's all about running an institution effectively. And the Gama is not doing that. The fact of the matter that the chair of chairs has said about the ANC, this is not an ANC motion. This was a minority opposition party motion. And we had the thought and the feeling that the PAC can do it the best. And the PAC has done it well. And I'm glad that the PAC did it and not the AIC and not the Al Jamaa, because we have more councillors in council than what the PAC has. And I think you all know that the councillor of the DA that stood up and debated actually tried to embarrass the PAC by saying a one-man party. And if you go to the video, you will hear that I screamed and said, a one-man party has removed the Speaker of Council. And I want to say thank you to the PAC for being brave and not saying, I'm a one-man. And that's the reason why the minority opposition parties together came to life, because we wanted to have each one-man party to have a voice. And this is a brand new councillor, out of the box. For the first time, he's a councillor and his motion has been carried. And that is the voice of the marginalized within council. We cannot talk, we cannot say anything. And Councillor Makubela, as she said, on the day nobody had a problem with her acting. And thus you can see the DA is not even talking on the multi-party. They are sending legal letters as the DA. And we want to know how much they have spent on legal fees. I'm going to leave it at that, and other parties will then speak. I thank you.
Let the PAC.
We'll allow the PAC, who was the sponsor, then we'll allow other parties to flow.
I would like to take this time to thank the residents of the city of Johannesburg and all the parties that supported the motions of vote of confidence against the Speaker. As the PAC, we are grateful for the noble course that they choose by supporting the PAC. As you all understand that as PAC, we are guided by the basic fundamental principles of our ideology, which aim number one is to unite and rally African people into one nation front on the basis of African nationalism to overthrow white domination. So I think all the reasons why we removed the Speaker has been covered by Chair and Chairperson of Minority Opposition Bloc. So I won't go to that one because it's already covered. All I want to do is to thank all the parties that supported this motion. And to make it very clear that I hear people saying that we are proxy or we are working for the PAC. As a PAC or for the ANC, as a PAC, we are always independent. You know, we only united based on the common cause because we are oppressed and we are suppressed by the Speaker and the DA to protect the interest of white people or white supremacy. I thank you.
Can you take it to the second and then you come to Ahmad, you come to Mountain.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to the leadership of political parties that are sitting in front of you here. We would like also to thank the members of the public that came to support this media briefing. And we also would like to thank the media people to come and listen to the voice of the voiceless in the Council of the City of Johannesburg. When the PAC sponsored the motion of vote of no confidence against the Speaker of Council, the councillor of the PAC made sure that he consult with everyone that is represented in council, because we could feel that the DA was not, or the Speaker of Council was not doing what he was supposed to be doing, but he was carrying out the mandate of his party, that is DA. You could see that there is a shadow speaker behind him who was calling the instructions or who was giving the instructions to him. Hence, he didn't listen to the minority parties in the city of Johannesburg. This motion was brought about for that reason, that he became the Speaker of the DA instead of fulfilling his duties that he took oath of office for, that he will preside over council. He will preside over all the councillors that are represented in the city of Johannesburg. And the other narrative that the DA is driving here is when other parties are voicing out what the DA is failing to do, the DA will always point its fingers to the African National Congress. Instead of delivering the services, hence they took the office in 2021, November 1st, they never went to many areas in the city of Johannesburg, more especially, particularly the mayor, as the chair of chairs has already alluded to her, failing to carry out her duties. The DA is obsessed with the ANC, and they got to this position where they are governing the city of Johannesburg. If that is the back door, they got here through the back door. But we will bring the ANC through the front door, not the back door. So they must just get to know with that. And we are not going to be bullied by them. Whether all these tactics that they are trying to do, intimidating the councillors through the leadership of their political parties, is going to end. Madam Helen Zille must concentrate all her efforts in the DA. She must just stop harassing other political parties as if they are pawns of the DA. As I conclude, we thank all these parties, all the parties that voted for this motion to be carried. We thank the EFF, the ANC, for supporting this motion that was brought by the minority parties. I thank you.
Myself. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome each and every stakeholder that is here, and I would like to also extend my gratitude to the media. So let me categorically state that the city of Johannesburg, last year November, when we were in Brixton, the service delivery was disrupted by the white supremacy, and the focus was that of the proximity to the whiteness. And let me not be ashamed to also tell the public that we are moving forward with the struggle, and we are also bringing a vote of no confidence against the executive mayor, Mpho Phalatse, who has failed to serve the people, the residents. Media knows that she made commitments as well to the residents of Soweto, and she failed to appear. She made excuses that she was sick while she was outside the country somewhere. So we know about these things, and this is not personal, but we understand that we are in the battlefield. We are not here by virtue of employment, but we are here to make it the point that we hold upon our fiduciary duty as councillors. So the main issue that upset us as the minority parties, particularly in the city of Johannesburg, is that there wasn't a separation of power between executive and legislature. So Mpho Phalatse, who is the executive mayor, and the former speaker, Vasco da Gama, colluded on concealing the reports of fraud, corruption, maladministration that Mayor Mashaba, who was the DA mayor at the time, operationalized and capacitated the function of forensic and investigation. Forensic and investigation, it's a unit in the city of Johannesburg that was mainly created to investigate councillors in the city of Johannesburg. That is another political overreach, in a sense that we have ethics committee in the city of Johannesburg. We have council to sanction investigation on councillors. We hear they are perpetuating that there are allegations of bribery and the likes, and they are going to do lifestyle audit. We are waiting for it. We are confident that in the city of Johannesburg, the government is that of a coalition set up or construct. So in a coalition construct, you know that there isn't an outright majority. What does that mean? There isn't a party that will govern in the absence of the other party, because all of us, we are below the threshold. So there is constant lobbying. We are still going to lobby, including the minorities which are within the government, to make it a point that we are going to remove Executive Mayor Mpho Phalatse for concealment of reports and protecting individuals. If media remembers very well, this emanated from the battle of the 130 purged city officials. But we were trying to advocate for administrative justice, to say what you are doing here has to be done on, what you're doing on the right has to be done on the left. So this unit in question, it was created in 2017 on the 26th of April. 26th of April. This group head in particular, those whom they conceal the reports, because we've been questioning to say, bring the reports to council. Do not cross the lines from executive to legislature, because legislature is meant to hold executive accountable, particularly the executive mayor. So this group head was employed in that unit on the 8th of March, before the unit was even created. So we are going for them. The group head earned about 1.8 million at the time, and at the end he was earning about 3.5 million from that department. The overall spend of the department from the taxpayers, or the tax and ratepayers' money, was about 580 million, which is over $500 million, from one unit in the city of Johannesburg. And then we also calling for the group head to reverse from the salary that he earned about 3.5 million, that it has to be recovered by the city of Johannesburg. So I wanted to also take the residents of the city into confidence that our battle hasn't ended. As the minority parties, we are also coming for the executive mayor pretty much soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone in the House. As part of the minority opposition party, the UDM felt obliged to do the right thing, because we've been fighting a losing battle with the speaker that flouts every rule in the book. So we decided that enough is enough, and we had to lobby the other parties, and we managed as this bloc to remove the speaker. We are having a situation where the DA now feels betrayed by the minority parties, but the same DA, even before the elections, they were telling the voters that voting for a smaller party is a waste of votes. Now they are saying, because the small parties have betrayed it on what they feel is a betrayal, although we don't feel like that. We feel that minority parties, both in the opposition and in the coalition, did the right thing that had to be done. Now they are campaigning once again, if you want something done, vote DA. In this quagmire, They are calling for voting. I don't know when must those people vote the DA, because it's been betrayed by the partners that were in the DA. It's high time that they do an introspection. They must ask themselves why they were given an opportunity in 2016. It fell off midway. They were back to the opposition benches. Once again, they got an opportunity that was handed to them on a platter by the EFF. And now they're going back to square one. They should do a serious introspection, because the DA cannot really undermine the opposition parties, knowing very well that they didn't get an outright winner. So they should know that they depend on the one-party councillors that they call them, one-person parties. For them to get somewhere, they need these minorities, and that is something that must be spelled out to the DA. And if they feel betrayed, they must ask themselves why they are betrayed. In the DA, there is no consultation. In the previous term, I was with them at the beginning. You get told what must happen. And if in our own parties we play a role, and then you get the DA that's going to come and tell you this is what must happen, it cannot fly with all the parties. So that's why it feels betrayed today. Nobody betrayed the DA betrayed itself. Thank you.
Where do I start?
Thank you. Don't go away. We just want to shift and scuffle along as we welcome the Soweto Parliament. The Commander Morning, sir. Mr. Nhlanhla Lux is here with us as our key stakeholder in the city. We do have other parliaments, Alex, Waterport, etc., that some may not have been able to join us, and other civic societies who believe in what the minorities are doing, who understand what we are fighting, and who are supporting us for the betterment of the lives of the residents of the city of Johannesburg. We will give them an opportunity to speak once the rest of the councillors have made their remarks quickly. Thank you.
Firstly, I want to greet the residents of the city of Johannesburg. Also, I want to appreciate the media houses that are here present. I'm here on behalf of ATM, African Transformation Movement, to give our side of the story as to why we voted the way we did. As the African Transformation Movement, we are guided by our values, and one of those values is accountability. As the African Transformation Movement, we supported the motion against Councillor Vasco da Gama, as we believed that it will bring balance of power, which will ensure that there is accountability, as nobody will be a referee and a player at the same time. And this we shared with the coalition government. Even before we went for voting, we told them up front to say, this is how we are going to vote. It is therefore rather strange when the DA goes around and say, we've betrayed them. I mean, what kind of a betrayal is that when I've told you up front to say, this is how I'm going to vote? And it's also strange to say, now they want our vote. They are talking about betrayal. When on the 23rd of June, the DA, through Councillor Leonard, told us categorically clear that they do not need our votes. When as minorities in the multi-party government, we wanted a certain item not to serve in council because we first wanted to engage on the item as the coalition partners.
Yes.
But it never mattered to them because on that particular day, they had the numbers.
Yes.
They knew that the ANC was not going to be part of the council. It was going for their provincial conference. So they said, no, we don't care about your votes.
Exactly.
We then engaged with them. We sat in the boardroom, in the mayor's boardroom. And I remember telling Leah not to say, Leah, today you are saying you don't need our votes.
Yes.
What about tomorrow?
Yes.
Tomorrow you're going to need our votes. And it happened.
Yes.
Now we're being told that we've betrayed the DA. I mean, what kind of a relationship where you say, today I don't need your votes, when I need your votes, we can actually engage, but when I don't need your votes, we can't engage. That is bullying.
It is.
And it can't be. We can't be dictated by the DA. Unlike other political parties who allow themselves to be bullied by the DA, the ATM will stand its ground.
Yes.
And as it is not in the pockets of the DA or anyone.
Yes.
Our stand as ATM is very clear. We are willing to work with whoever for as long as it will benefit the residents of the city of Johannesburg. When we went into this coalition, we were of the belief that it was in the best interest of the residents. However, with the way things are happening, I'm now even thinking of engaging my leadership to say, is it still worth it, given the things that are happening? Because definitely we are being undermined. We can no longer tolerate being bullied by the DA. The DA sees other partners as less important. They do as they please. I want to say this. We are not voting cows.
Yes.
We are only interested in seeing service delivery to the residents of the city of Johannesburg. Because those are the people that have elected us so that we serve them. And that is what we've promised them. We've promised them that we'll create a better tomorrow for them through service delivery. And we'll do whatever is necessary to ensure that that promise is met. The DA behaves like a boss and sees no reason to consult the coalition partners. As ATM, we pride ourselves with accountability. We refuse to keep voting for the DA as we do not account to the DA. As ATM, we vote based on principle, not on preference, for we put our residents first. I thank you.
All right, those are live visuals there of the Johannesburg Multi-Party Coalition's media briefing. The minority parties have started by clarifying the status of the acting council speaker, that's COPE caucus leader Colleen Makhubela. Now, this, of course, follows Thursday's ousting of council speaker Vasco da Gama with the help of parties who are in the coalition arrangement with the DA. You would have heard there, it seems there's no love lost there. Colleen was actually the first one to say that perhaps there needs to be some sort of introspection insofar as the DA's conduct is concerned. They've accused them of being arrogant and really not needing the multi-party coalition when it suits them and needing them when it does. But we'll most certainly continue with that. My colleague Masego Ratlaka is up next and will give you all the details on that particular